That's why. Idiot. Now I know. Okay. We're good. We're good. Hey, how about that? Stand by, Vlad. We're coming back. (800-224-2004) 800-224-2004 if you wish to reach us by the old phone. You can also tweet at me anytime at the back page. I apologize for those of you that were watching the show on the video stream and were wondering where we were. I will be brutally honest. I forgot to simply hit the button that said start streaming. That's what happens when you're doing like 16 different things as the show is starting. And then on top of it, not to go too far afield here, but my dog decided to walk under my desk. No joke. Walked under the desk, farted, and then walked away and just left me with the remnants. Can you imagine? So I was just dying. I was gasping for air just seconds before we came on the air. Coming up in about 15 minutes, Clemson and a quarterback controversy. Didn't they just win big? Didn't they cover the spread? Wasn't it 41-10 last night? Vlad and I were watching it as anybody who had Georgia Tech in the 24 were sweating it out and then tearing up their losing tickets. But a quarterback controversy after week 1 of the college football season? Are you kidding me? We'll get into the rankings in the next hour, the first edition or the next edition of the rankings after the first week of college football. And again, I just think it's laughable that you get so much movement of any kind in the rankings so early in the season. I think it should be at least a few weeks before you even release a second set of rankings. There's just, you want to have the preseason ones, everybody wants to have fun and have something to talk about, great. But making snap judgments in college football when some of these teams haven't even played a game yet, when there is no real preseason, to me it's asinine to sit there and have rank. And I get, look, I'm in the business of talking about sports. It gives us something to talk about. But it's just, to me, it's fraudulent. We're making judgments on whether a team is the 10th or 11th or 12th or 15th or 17th ranked team in the country, whether a team's gone from 5 to 2 based on the first week. Dress rehearsal for some of these teams. Are you kidding? I don't think you can. I don't think you can do it. So we'll get to that. But Tom Brady has 2 marriages right now, and they both seem to be on the rocks. And it leaves me wondering, if things go south for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if they get off to a bad start, we hear stories about Brady complaining and already kind of hemming and hawing about the fact that he doesn't have Rob Gronkowski, although I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that think Gronk will make a return at some point this year if the price is right. All apologies to Bob Barker. But first marriage of Tom Brady is obviously the most important, and that is his marriage. Well, maybe it's not the most important to him. It's the marriage to Gisele Bündchen. And I was reading a piece in Esquire today, which got into a New York page 6 sort of thing about this relationship drama that's making its way around the internet regarding Tom Brady. That they're in the middle of, quote, an epic fight about his decision to unretire from the NFL. And they're reporting, page 6, take it for what it is, that she has left the family compound. Wouldn't we all like to have a compound, by the way? Wouldn't a compound be great? She has reportedly left the compound in Tampa for a trip to Costa Rica.
Nice.
What do you do in Costa Rica, by the way? What is there to do in Costa Rica? Anybody ever been to Costa Rica? I've never been to Costa Rica, so I don't know what you would do in Costa Rica, but I'm just curious. What do you do in Costa Rica?
Rendezvous.
You think
side piece?
Okay, fair enough.
The side piece, bro. Yeah, man.
Okay.
He messed up, bro. He reneged. That's what happened. He told her last year. He told her last season was his last year. And then he retired, and then 6 weeks at home, he said, "Nah, baby, I gotta go back." And that was it. She gave him that Brazilian attitude. It was a wrap.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh, no.
You started getting into a Brazilian. Show. I'm like, man, what are we talking about here?
No,
all right, I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. So Tom and Giselle, one source told The Outfit, Tom and Giselle are in a fight right now. There's been trouble in the marriage over his decision to unretire. Giselle has always been the one with the kids. And you know what? She's got a point. Most NFL careers don't last this long. They don't last the entire childhood of the kids. And she's got to sit there and if you want to raise kids properly, yeah, could she have some nanny in there taking care of all the business and, the kids never even know who their parents are? I suppose. But Giselle has always been the one with the kids, according to this source. They had agreed he would retire to focus on the family. Then he changed his mind. Meanwhile, a third anonymous source claimed the couple have a, quote, fiery relationship and that, quote, Giselle is a bit hot-headed. Wow.
Yeah, she's done, man.
Yeah,
she's done. It's been,
yeah, but I mean, you've toughed it out all this time through the career. And now you're gonna. I mean, really?
Listen, I'm gonna shoot Giselle a little bail.
All right.
Because I side with Tom in this.
Okay.
I'm gonna shoot her a little bail.
All right, go ahead. Fair enough.
I was the highest paid supermodel in the damn world.
Yes, I know. Right? I know. She at one point in time, she probably made more money than him.
I make more money than you. So literally, I stopped what I was doing. I still had some prime years left of modeling to make a lot of money, to bear your children and be the wife. Okay? So after a while, man, I need some me time. And he told her probably after the last season. I mean, literally, after he won that title in Tampa, he really could have walked out.
Yeah, he could have.
He could have rode off in the sunset.
Yep.
But he didn't. He came back and had another great season. And it's just
could have said it's a wrap.
He could have said it's a wrap, but it's not.
Should have said it's a wrap.
That's what he reneged. That's what happened. He should have never said he retired. He said that, and she set up a trip in August. Because literally, I'm thinking about this scenario last week. Mm-hmm. If this was a trip that was planned, you could have canceled that trip, right?
Yeah. You absolutely could.
Brady took.
Yes.
You could have canceled it, or you could have moved it up, or you could have moved it later. You could have moved it.
Mm-hmm.
You kept it in August. Something happened. Wifey wasn't moving that vacation. She was gonna make him keep his word. And Tom's gotta deal with it. Think about it. This man would rather spend 4 hours with sweaty men than his beautiful supermodel wife, mother of his children.
I mean, look, everybody's got their thing, though. Everybody's got their addictions, and maybe for Tom, the addiction is the game. I mean, maybe that's just it. Some guy's got to be dragged away from this game kicking and screaming. He just might be one of those guys. And now you start to wonder. If it's a choice, I mean, you wonder, is it literally now a choice between his marriage? Is it a choice between his marriage and playing another season for the Buccaneers? It could be.
Yeah. Listen, if losing that marriage over another season in Tampa, I might have to check Tom for CTE. I get it, man. You are talented.
So wait a minute. So if you're Brady and she says, "This is it, me or football," you're gonna have to make a choice this time. You're saying if you're him, you'd choose Giselle.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just saying. It's not like Jason, he ain't gonna have plenty to keep himself busy if she walks.
No, he's not. But he is okay.
Well, hold on, because we only got a little bit of time here. They start out in Dallas against the Cowboys, week 1. That's a toss-up game.
Win.
It's a toss-up game.
It's a win.
I mean, he's barely played in the preseason. This isn't as talented a roster as it was last year. New head coach.
It's still Brady.
They played him basically to a draw last year in the opening game, if I recall.
Well, they were coming off their Super Bowl.
That was a hell of a game. That was one of the best games of the year last year. So you have that in week 1, but then they're at the Saints, home for the Pack, home for the Chiefs. I mean, the first 5 games, it is no picnic. First four games are no picnic. And it leaves me wondering, if he gets off to a slow start and the home life isn't good, does he just walk? I think any sort of prop bet on over under totals and all that stuff, and I haven't looked at it in the last couple of days for the Buccaneers, I wouldn't even touch them one way or the other. Because I wonder if he's there. I don't know if he's there for the whole season. It would not shock me if Tom Brady were to walk. If things get bad, I would not be shocked if he walked.
Then why come back?
I don't think he knew Giselle was going to blow a gasket.
No, come on, Jason. No, he knew. He's
not
coming back. If he knew, then he would have never retired.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
For one more season.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Nah, bro. Nah. Listen, at this point of his career, your family or one more season, I think he's going to pick his family.
Well, but now, who knows during the season how this plays out?
Nah, Brady's not going to quit, man. Not going to quit on his family. He's not going to quit on his team.
We'll talk about this a little bit more as we continue. And I got to get into this story about Clemson and this quarterback controversy. I would normally laugh at something like this, but I'll tell you why I won't in this instance. You got a thought? 800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. Guests coming up. Nick Ferguson in the next hour, former NFL safety. Dan Kaplan from The Athletic in the final hour. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. I got you, Brian. Thank you. Got your note. Yeah, Vlad. I have to bring up your levels a little because you're a little soft. Make sure you turn off your sounds there, Vlad, because I just heard that. Whatever message that was you got.
That wasn't me. I didn't get no message.
Huh?
I ain't get no message.
Yeah, I just heard something go ba-ding.
That wasn't me. That was from you.
Oh, never mind. It is from me. Sorry. Good thing that didn't happen while we were on the air. I had to turn that thing. I had to turn that thing off.
Yeah, I turned my things off. That's why I was like, nah, that's not for me. All the notifications from you.
Even though I turned off all my sound notifications, the one thing that overrides it is my WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp on my thing. Yeah. NFL wins over under. Hi, Dookie. What's up, buddy? Oh, he ripped one so bad. He farted underneath the he came under my desk, laid here, and just ripped one, and then walked away like ha ha ha. Don't look at me, dude. You're on your own tonight. It's Daddy's work time, man. Why are you smiling so much?
I'm reading.
Oh, okay. I was like, is life that good?
No, I'm reading. I'm just reading comics. People are funny. It was going on with stadiums, man. Me and a friend of mine's been talking about this.
What?
You know how bad you got to be in stadiums when people are just fucking just in stadiums.
Hold on. Coming back. I'm trying to be cool, and it's just not working. I don't think you could be cool wearing the shirt that I'm wearing on the show tonight. Anybody who's watching on the stream can see the shirt that I'm wearing. This is actually a Penguin shirt. You know Penguin, the brand? You know the brand Penguin? You're not familiar?
No.
It's actually it's actually a really popular brand. There's some of the tennis players. There's a couple at the U.S. Open that wear it. It's a very prominent brand. So I'm wearing my multicolored Penguin shirt tonight. Sporting that for those watching on the stream. And we appreciate you doing so. You could send us a note in a chat box. The problem is we're on so many different video streams. If you put a note in the chat box, I may not see it. Where I will see notes is on Twitter. You can hit me up there at the back page. Again, on Twitter, at the back page. You can also hit us up via the telephone at 800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. Coming up in about 12 minutes. Could we have a wide receiver win an MVP for the first time in NFL history? One NFL pundit is suggesting it's possible. We'll go through the MVP candidates as it relates to the betting odds. By the way, we were talking about overs and unders for wins in the league this year. And I've got to say, I am absolutely stunned. And I'll tell you right now, Tampa Bay is 11.5, and I'd go under. I would absolutely go under. I don't think they're going to be that good this year. I really don't. I think that's a 10-win football team. I really do. I think that's a 10-win football team, and I think there's a real chance, even if you want to argue that they could be a 12-win team, I think there's a real chance Brady doesn't make the season.
He's making the season.
I'm
Stop.
telling
Stop
you.
At this,
I'm being honest here.
All right, man. You on down that hill, bro. Listen. Everybody has marital problems. Nothing's ever perfect. It's not I don't think this is the first time they've had some type of.
Well, you don't know that, but this is the first time. Listen, this is a guy that keeps stuff ultra private and has been very good at keeping things in house. Right. So the fact that this is getting out tells you how bad. I'm not saying it's War of the Roses bad, but it's got to be bad.
No, you know what it tells me? He's a 45-year-old man that's dealing with ish, like all 45-year-old men deal with. We all deal with stuff. We're all around Brady's age. Well, you are not. So, and most men, you deal with stuff as you get older. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to deal with stuff. If you have a significant other, if you have a girl, you have a wife, you're going to have to deal with stuff.
I could find a lot more scenarios. I can find a lot more scenarios where Tampa Bay finishes with less than 11.5 wins than I do with them actually finishing with more.
Look at their division. All right. Now, as good as Dennis Allen is, and I think he's going to be a good head coach, okay, he's not Sean Payton. I think Tampa's beating the New Orleans Saints. I think that's as crazy. I think they're splitting. I
think they're splitting those first two games. I don't think they're winning them both.
Whatever. But I think they're beating Carolina both times, and I know they're beating Atlanta both times. So if Carolina they split with on the road, they're finishing 5-1 in the division.
Carolina on the road will not be an easy game.
Stop! Don't give me that. Come on, man. No, Baker's not doing anything. Kid and Baker doesn't. So stop. All right. He's 5-1 in the division, and yes, they won in the division. They were in the playoff. They're gonna have a tougher record. They're gonna have a tougher schedule.
They have a very tough schedule.
This is his last season. If this is his, how about this?
How could anybody say it's his last season? The guy never wants to retire. I don't want to hear anybody say it's his last season. I'll believe he's retired when he has sat out a full season. Until then, the guy ain't ever retiring.
So then how can you say that Brady's going to walk out during the season then? If you're saying that he'll never retire and he's never shown that, so what makes you think that he's not going to finish the season? He's going to walk away.
I think Giselle is a huge wild card here. Again, take into consideration they have kept this marriage so private. For one of the greatest athletes of all time to be able to keep this thing so private and this gets out, it tells me something is seriously amiss here. Something is seriously wrong.
It tells me that they've signed their marriage to a television deal and might be a reality show to show about the,
go and look at who they look
super at great athlete and model
outside of their division. So they get the Cowboys.
That's a win.
Hold on. They get the Falcons. They get the Rams. They get the Ravens. They get the Seahawks, which will be a win. In Cleveland against the Browns. In San Francisco against the 49ers. In Arizona. Come on, you can make the argument everything could be a win, but will they? Probably not.
This is the same, but no, because I'm going to use your argument that you said last night against. So you're telling me you're trusting Trey Lance against a Tom Brady-led
we don't even know. Well, we don't honestly know who the quarterback's going to be.
We don't know, but by that time, so you're telling me a Trey Lance, because you're telling me a Baker Mayfield-led team is going to give Tampa problems, and I look at their schedule. I don't really see much problems there. They have a tough schedule because they won the division last year. You play all the division winners in your conference.
They're going 12. So you think they're going 12-5 or better?
I think they can go 12-5 or better.
Yeah, I think they're a 10 or 11 win team. I don't think they're terrible. I think they're a 10. I think they're a 10 or 11 win team. They get the Bengals.
They could beat the Bengals.
Again, by that logic, they're just going to go 17-0, Vlad. You got to give them losses somewhere. I just don't think they're that. I just don't think they're that good.
I didn't give them a win against the Rams. I didn't give them a win against the Chiefs.
By the way, there's only one other team. There's only one other team that is projected to win 11.5 games. Do you know who it is?
Buffalo.
Yep.
But that's because they were everybody's favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Well, it's also, again, that division.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me Vegas, who we love, smartest man in the world, have the Buccaneers favorite at 11.5, and you who always say, don't go against the guys in Vegas.
But I'm not saying it's going to be off by 3 or 4 games. I'm thinking it's off by a game, maybe a game and a half. Boy, they got the Ravens. They got the Ravens at 10.5 too, and I'm just not that high on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
So in a game of 2 teams you're not high on, Tampa versus Baltimore.
I'm finally starting to catch on the whole thing with unders. Remember our buddy Eric Casillas used to always say, unders to win, overs to lose. I'm starting to catch on to the idea that, there's some unders I like this year. I think there's a lot of parity in the league this year. I think there's going to be a lot of 9 and 10 win teams.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think there's going to be those good teams that people expect to be good to win 11.5 and 12 games.
12 games, a lot of games.
Put it this way, Paige. Last year, would you say the Kansas City Chiefs had a so-so season in the regular season?
Yes.
Were they a dominant? You would say they had a so-so?
Yes.
You know what their record was last season?
It was really good.
12-5.
Yep.
So 12-5 on a so-so season,
and they're only projected at 10.5.
And they were playing in a division that was good last season.
I see them in the that's the other thing too. Their division is tough. Yeah, you can make the argument Seattle took a step backwards, but they took a step backwards because they got Russell Wilson, which means Denver's actually going to be better this year than they were the season prior.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't see who's the best. What quarterback in that NFC South scares you? That has Tom Brady shaking in his boots? Jameis?
No, but I mean, it's 740-year-old Tom Brady, not 35-year-old Tom Brady. And there's going to be a regression at some point.
Yeah. You know what? Keep hoping that, because I haven't seen it.
All right, I'll get
to the league in passing yards last season.
I know. Who? We're gonna get into this Clemson quarterback controversy as we continue with the Cash In. I'm Jason Page, Sports Map Radio Network.
Don't be Jason Kellerman.
Vlad, I got to start giving you a signal when we're near the end of the break because you can't hear the bed and stuff. So I got to give you a signal to kind of cut you off rather than just stepping on you.
No worries.
I'll give you like a hand signal. Like if I just give you like a stop sign, it means we're up against it.
Just don't understand why I can't hit a program yet.
Yeah, listen. There's a lot of things in this I've still got to work with. Because the problem is to loop the network programming around to you.
It's probably nothing difficult.
No, but it is, because if I loop, then if I come out of the brick back into my board, I think it's gonna create a loop. That's the problem. I don't know how to do it. So we'll figure it out. Kyrgios won the second set.
Oh, wow. Oh, who's this cutie? Look at me. See what happens when the Yankees get rain delay? Postponed? I'm watching.
What'd you say?
NBA. It's like Yankees get postponed. I'm watching WNBA basketball.
Yeah.
Stop.
The sun beat the crap out of the Sky tonight.
The Sky.
How close is your mic to you, by the way?
It's not right now. It's not close to me. Why?
No, like when we're on the air, how close is it?
Oh, it's like it's right here.
Yeah, you might have to bring it a little closer. I know you're trying to aim for comfort there, but I might have to have you get a little closer because they're not picking you up that well.
Well, you hear me now?
Now I do. Yeah, when you get close to it, I can hear you well.
Well,
it's not even so much that I hear you well. It gets, when you're the further away you are, it gets a little tinnier. We're coming back. Hang tight.
Sports talk, only better than Cash In with Jason Page continues on the Sports Network.
Good to be with you. Night 2 of this experiment we call the Cash In. Nick Kyrgios and Khachanov. Kyrgios and Khachanov tied at 1 set apiece. Khachanov won the first set, Kyrgios the second at the U.S. Open. One of the big men's matches tonight over on Arthur Ashe Court. So they're just starting the third set. Kyrgios looked a little lackluster in that first set and picked up the pace a bit in the second set, so they're tied at 1 set apiece. By the way, everything I touch in tennis just dies. After the Medvedev lost to Kyrgios, I'm like, oh, it's Rafa Nadal's tournament to win. He loses his next match. Last night, I'm all going crazy about Coco Gauff. She loses today. Everything I touch, it just dies. Clemson, it's going to finish in a push. Clemson scores a late touchdown. It's like I just can't even talk about anything that's happening. I know I've been off for 6.5 years, but my God. Just awful. There's also baseball tonight. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on around the diamond. Yankees got rained out. That's a bad break for them. You do not want to be playing doubleheaders in September. It's the wrong time of the year to be playing doubleheaders because it screws up your rotation. And don't get me wrong, you can call guys up in September because the rosters are expanded, and that's all great. But it's a problem when you got to play doubleheaders because, as I say all the time, it's hard to sweep doubleheaders. And they're playing a doubleheader against a good team. Minnesota's no joke. I'll get to the story of the potential first wide receiver to win an MVP or whether it's even possible. One NFL pundit thinks it is. But I got to address this story that popped up in my prep today about the potential for a quarterback controversy with regard to Clemson. Now, we talked about it last night. That was a, 14-10 game at the half, something like that. I mean, Clemson was only up by a little bit at the half. And we were questioning, whether their offense could kick it into gear. Well, it did in the second half. 41-10, Clemson beats Georgia Tech. All's well and ends well. Well, apparently not so much. Because late in the game, Clemson turned the reins over to Cade Klubnik for a series. And what did he do? He drove the team right down the field, 66-yard drive that ended with a touchdown pass to Will Taylor. And it got people talking. Todd McShay noted that Clemson showed more life under Klubnik than when DJ Ugalele, I'm sure I butchered that name badly, but that's okay. He's not listening. And if he is, he should be sleeping. So he led the offense. But see, here's what I would say to that. You get Clemson going down the field and scoring a garbage touchdown late. Not to those, obviously, who had money on the game. It's not a garbage touchdown to you. But you get them going down the field and scoring a touchdown late. And here's the problem with that. You know that Georgia Tech's spirit had been broken by then. They knew they didn't belong on the field with Clemson by that point. So judging that touchdown, that one touchdown drive, at the end of the game when Georgia Tech's already mailed it in, they're already on the bus going home, as a rationalization for why Klubnik should be starting over Uiagalelei or whatever his name is. We'll just call him, let's call him DJ. Using that as your rationalization, to me, is crazy. But Todd McShay, he got them all riled up. Is it me, or was the energy so different from Clemson's offense when Cade Klubnik came in the game? I know it was garbage time, but it just felt like there was more juice. Now, look, if there is one sport where I think you could rationalize, this is, I think, one of the huge differences between the NFL and college football. One of the enormous differences. And I don't think there's, the games are kind of getting similar because more college teams want to run that pro-style offense and things like that. But here's one area where they are vastly different. College football, because it's a poll system, because the way you win matters, one loss could end your season if you're a Clemson. Or two losses can end your season. But to lose one in the very first game, you can't have it happen if you're Clemson. So if there is one sport where I can understand the knee-jerk reaction, I know I'm arguing both sides of this here, but if there's one sport where I can make the argument for quick, decisive action to change at the quarterback position, if you see something that really sparks some thought in you, it is college football because you don't get do-overs. Go ask Utah, who lost at the Swamp, who now has to basically win out to even be in the conversation for the college football playoff. There is no room for error after one loss. Whereas in the NFL, you can, my God, in a 17-game season, you can lose 8 and still make the playoffs. So you don't have to have that knee-jerk reaction. You can wait 4, 5, 6 weeks before you make a decision at quarterback. College football, you don't have that luxury. College football, it's just not built that way. So there are going to be some that say, well, look, that one drive, look how and again, what's the oldest saying in football? Everybody loves the backup quarterback. Everybody loves the backup quarterback. And Uiagalelei settled into more of a rhythm in that game. Finished with, 209 yards passing on 32 throws. And Tigers offensive coordinator Brandon Streeter's made it clear. DJ is going to remain the starter. But the mere fact that somebody's even asking that question after week one in a game where you win 41-10 is nuts to me. Off of one drive late in a game when a team's mailed it in? I could see if the final was, 24-10, 21-10. But my God, they won the game 41-10. And you're talking about making a change? Just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense.
Different times, man.
Different, like I said,
Different times.
if they had lost the game, if it was way closer than it should have been, they covered the spread, for crying out loud. They covered the spread.
Yeah, barely.
And you're talking about making these kinds of changes. Barely. It was still 31 by 31 points, and we're talking about a quarterback change. Todd McShay, come on. He's probably not the only one saying it.
You know why, right?
Now, if we're talking 2-3 games and you're still seeing this Clemson offense struggle, then fine, let's have that conversation. But again, there's no preseason in college football. Your expectations have to morph a little bit with that. They have to.
Not anymore, Jason. Not with the transfer portal. Now that's what it is. If
you're worried Klubnik's going to walk after the season? You're worried Klubnik's going to leave?
I saw Spencer Rattler. Huh?
Yeah, but you're worried Klubnik's going to leave?
He may. These kids leave all the time. You asking me right now? After the fact, we're asking, how did Ohio State let Joe Burrow go? But clearly, Joe Burrow was, in Ohio State coaches' mind, they thought that Joe Burrow was the second or third starting quarterback on that team. So he had to go. He had to transfer out. So it's better to see what the kid has now. And if he's not the guy, especially right now in college football, you need that quarterback, especially to make that college football playoffs. You got to have that Y factor as well. It's similar to the NFL, and he's not cutting it. Not these 2 years in Clemson. Remember, he had to replace Trevor Lawrence, and they lost 2 games last season. And 2-loss season in Clemson that's a terrible season.
NFL MVP odds. There is one NFL pundit, shocking, somebody that I don't actually get along with, whose name is Mike Florio. And Mike Florio today suggested that for the first time, a wide receiver could win the league's most valuable player award. Who does he think it is? None other than Justin Jefferson. I mean, think about the kinds of numbers Justin Jefferson would have to put up if he is to win an NFL most valuable player. I know people will look at Minnesota and, they're implementing this offense that is akin to what the Rams run because they brought in Kevin O'Connell. But is it really feasible? Is it possible? What would it take for a wide receiver to win an MVP award? And is that guy going to is the first NFL most valuable player that's a wide receiver going to be Justin Jefferson, who I think is great? Don't get me wrong. He had over 1,600 yards receiving last year, 108 catches. And do you really believe that Kirk Cousins is good enough to even lead him to that promised land? I'm not a Kirk Cousins guy. Never have been. For the record, MVP odds, Justin Jefferson's not even on the board. So to suggest he could win the MVP is kind of nuts. Josh Allen, by the way, is your favorite at plus 700. Followed by Patrick Mahomes at 800, Justin Herbert at 900, along with Tom Brady at 900. Really? Aaron Rodgers at 1,000. Joe Burrow at 1,300. Russell Wilson at 1,600. If Russell Wilson wins the MVP, I will eat my shoe. That's not going to happen. Matthew Stafford at 1,600. Dak Prescott at 1,700. Lamar Jackson at 2,000. Kyler Murray at 2,200. I like Justin Herbert, by the way. I think Herbert's going to win an MVP this year. But it isn't going to be a wide receiver. I mean, can you see a wide receiver ever winning the award? It is kind of nuts that they never have a chance, though. Because there have been wide receivers, but there have been wide receivers in this game that enhance the abilities of their quarterbacks. And I think Justin Jefferson enhances Kirk Cousins more than Kirk Cousins enhances Justin Jefferson.
No.
What do you mean, no?
You know what? You're right on that part. I think you're right with Justin Jefferson would enhance Kirk Cousins. But if you're talking about all these great wide receivers and the reason why they haven't won or haven't been like they haven't won an MVP, because usually the quarterback that's throwing them the ball is usually Hall of Fame or MVP winning quarterback themselves. Like, so you're asking, well, shocking, Jerry Rice didn't win an MVP. That's because Joe Montana was probably throwing him the ball and was gaining those yards as well. You know,
it's kind of interesting. I'd be curious to look at the wide receivers that are in the Hall of Fame, who we would consider like the greatest of all time. I'd be curious to go and look back and see which ones actually didn't have great quarterbacks to play with. I wonder if there are any.
I mean, there's only one great wide receiver. There's only one great wide receiver, and that's Jerry Rice.
But
I mean, other great wide receivers.
We're talking, Terrell Owens.
They're usually like Steve Young.
No, I know, no, and I'm not saying I'm not saying, but for their whole career, you know what I mean?
They usually play with a whole.
I mean, Owens played with a lot of guys
at some point in their careers. Huh?
No, I'm just saying he played with a lot of guys. Right? Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Right.
All right, we'll tell you what we got coming up in the next hour. I want to get into the AP Top 25 college football rankings. We'll do that and more as we continue. Nick Ferguson in the next hour, former NFL safety too. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on Sports Map Radio.
I like Kyrgios in his NBA jersey tennis gear.
What'd you say?
I love his NBA tennis, like NBA Street, like very, very Rucker Park tennis.
Hold on, I can't hear you. I have to turn down the thing. What'd you say?
Kyrgios in his Rucker Park and tennis, his tennis outfit.
Yeah. See, now your video is behind your audio, which is screwing me up. Talk for a second. Yeah, see, you're behind.
Hello?
You're behind. Hold on. I'm going to hang up and call you right back. Oh, I know what the problem is.
You're not calling me on FaceTime.
I'm not? Oh, shoot.
Ladies and gentlemen, family.
There you are.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Good.
Yeah, it's still behind a little bit. Sorry, short segment here.
But you don't see me waving at you?
Yeah, I see you. I'm saying I see you. I'm saying the audio is behind the video. Nothing works. Technology
Wait, am I on
stinks.
FaceTime? Like, do people see me?
Hold on.
Do they see me on your FaceTime? No.
The Cash In with Jason Page continues.
57 minutes past the hour. Coming up in the next hour, Nick Ferguson will join us. Does a great job on the NFL and college football. We'll get some thoughts with him on both. Would he make a change at quarterback if he were Clemson? Based on one game, which I think is nuts. But we'll talk to him about that. The Justin Jefferson thing is fascinating, though. And look, everybody's looking for something to say. I mean, we're at that point in the, we're just ready. We're dying for football. And I mean the NFL. My God, we got to get to the NFL season. So, somebody tries to stir some things up by saying, hey, a wide receiver is going to win the MVP, even though it has no chance in the world of happening. And he makes everybody else talk about it, and that's fine. But is the first NFL wide receiver to win an MVP going to be Justin Jefferson? If you told me Mariano Rivera would be the first player to get every single Hall of Fame voter to vote for him for the Hall, okay, fine. He's the greatest closer of all time. It's not even close. Fine, I get it. If you told me Derek Jeter was going to get every vote except for one schmuck that decided not to vote for him, fine, I get it. But if you tell me Justin Jefferson with Kirk Cousins throwing him the football is going to be the first wide receiver to ever win an NFL Most Valuable Player, I don't think so. I don't think there's a wide receiver in the game that's capable of winning an MVP, let alone Justin Jefferson. All right, we're back with another hour of the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. I'm Jason Page. Glad to have you with us. Okay. Vlad, I'm going to call you back on my phone.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to call you back on my phone.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Jeez, if this is the first match, is there another match after this Kyrgios match? This can be
we
held.
get into the quarterfinals, man.
So that's it?
The matches have to start at 7. Yeah, it has to be. Come on, we're in the second week, man. We're on Tuesday, so it's almost time. It's almost shutdown time. Yeah, there was a quarterfinal matchup earlier today. Rudd beat Berrettini.
So there is no other match after this one.
And, Coco Gauff, she lost today.
Yeah.
And Jabora won. Yeah, it's the last match of today.
Damn, I wonder if Patrick's available. Get him tomorrow night, maybe.
Yeah, tomorrow probably be best bet. And maybe you can get him in after the Rublev Tiafoe matchup, because that's scheduled at 2.
Yeah. I'll check.
Yeah, the early matchup tomorrow one is at noon, One quarterfinals at noon, the other quarterfinals at 2. One quarterfinals at 7 for the women, and the other quarterfinal for the men is at 9. But I did.
Be right back. Why is this screen not going back on? Okay, I got it. Yeah. Tell the problem is I need one more plug because my phone battery is almost dead. Because I'm FaceTiming with Vlad on it.
There's a USB hub behind you.
Huh?
You have a USB so I don't get it.
Yes.
You see the USB hub?
There. Oh! How was your workout?
John was there. He and Don just signed up for the gym yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're using one for Thursday's classes.
Gotcha.
Press the screen again.
This is the problem. Please don't move the camera, whatever you do. God, this thing is on fire.
No, I can't find it.
Ah, there it is. All right.
Just place on your Mac.
I cannot do this right now. All right, another hour of the Cash In. I am Jason Page. Glad to have you with us on this Tuesday night. The phone number is 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. On Twitter, at the back page, if you're looking to send me I haven't checked my Twitter tonight. I've been a little busy hosting a show, so I haven't had time to go and check my Twitter to see if anything's there of interest. What we are following, by the way, is the big event of the night is obviously what's going on out at the U.S. Open. Kyrgios and Khachanov. That is, let's see, 4-4, third set, tied 1 set apiece. So, big match there at the U.S. Open to conclude the festivities. Quarterfinal action tonight at the U.S. Open. Coco Gauff lost earlier today. I don't know. And again, I didn't even get a chance to look at the odds to see if she was a favorite or not, because I knew we weren't going to be on the air when it was going on. But Coco Gauff lost earlier today. And look, I mean, if Kyrgios loses tonight, this thing is going to lose a lot of its cachet. I know the U.S. Open, it's fun, it's New York, loud crowd. Let me tell you, if Nick Kyrgios loses, there is not a whole heck of a lot to get excited about in the rest of this U.S. Open. If there is, you tell me what it is, because I don't see it. And I love watching Grand Slam tennis, but I think you got big problems if you're the U.S. Open and Kyrgios goes down tonight. You need him in this field. You want him in this field. Coming up in a couple minutes, AP Top 25 college football movement after just 1 week. Try and convince me it matters. Okay. Nick Ferguson will join us coming up in about 20 minutes. Former NFL safety. Stick around. We got a lot to do. It's Jason Page, The Cash In, on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Oh, Kyrgios getting upset.
Houston, can you hear me?
Houston, can you hear me? Hello. Houston, hello.
Everything's fine, thank you.
Everything's fine, Houston. I like this. I like it. Yo.
Good to be back with you. Sports Map Radio Network. Yes, I'm here. I am here. I don't know why you're hearing like double audio or something. Do you hear me? Just trying to make sure. Can you hear me? Hello, Houston. Does anybody hear me? Yeah, Vlad hears me. Can Houston hear me? Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right. So anyway, AP Top 25 I want to get into here coming up in just a couple of minutes. I don't know why we were hearing audio looping back. Try and figure that out. I'm having all sorts of like technical gremlins here that are jumping up and biting me. It's odd. Vlad, you can hear me, right?
I hear you.
All right, I'm just making sure. It's only the second night of the show, so there's going to be these sorts of issues. But it was weird. I was hearing my audio coming back to me, and I hear my audio coming back to me from. It's really
From
strange.
your iPhone?
No, I hear our audio coming back to me.
From your iPhone.
No, I'm not hearing it from my iPhone. It's kind of strange. We're all, like I said, we're all kind of going through this together right now. It's kind of interesting. I'm just turning things off like on my computer to try and kill different audio feeds to keep it from looping back. It's kind of strange. As long as I turn down the sound from master control, I'm okay. But see, I'm hearing stuff. You know what's happening is it's kind of weird. I'm hearing audio sounds from my computer that I should not be hearing, which is kind of weird. I don't know. But again, this is some of what happens when you're doing a show remotely in this day and age. But it's really weird. Not sure why. Anyways, you can tweet at me at the back page if you want to get in touch with me. Again, on Twitter, hit me up there at the back page if you're looking to get in touch with us here on the show. Oh, I know what I'm hearing. I know what it is. I just figured it out. My apologies to our friends back in Houston, since I just screwed up the entire show with one little move that I made. See, now everything's fine. Houston, we're okay now, right? Thank you. My apologies. And now I know what happened. It's fine. Okay. So anyway, talking a little bit about, the new top 25 in college football. And as I've pointed out in the first hour of the show, and I'll kind of go through it here as well, I'm not a fan of having polls after just week one of the season, or even week 2 or week 3 of the season, especially when you consider a lot of these teams are going to play cupcakes over the first few weeks anyway. You know, Clemson had that game last night, and now their next 2 games are absolute snoozers that you know they're going to be able to win. And then they'll get into, playing against Wake Forest, and that will, I think their next difficult game is Wake Forest. So for the next 2 weeks, who cares what they do? They're not playing anybody good. They're not playing anybody of substance. So this idea that, anything Clemson does beyond this. And again, the polls are going to shift people around. Ohio State dropped in the poll this week. Georgia moved up because of their resounding victory over Oregon. But I'll say it again. This kind of movement early in the season, you can't really go crazy about it. You can't really go nuts about movement in the college football top 25 this early in the season. Vlad, I apologize. I know you're back with us now. I lost producer Vlad for a second.
What's going on, man? You're horrible with the interface.
Yeah, I know. It's some of what happens when you're launching a new show. I had a monitor go out on my end. We've got in California today. Nobody's going to care about this except people who live in California who can appreciate it. But literally right before we went on the air tonight, we got an emergency. You know how you see it like midnight on your TV? It'll be like the emergency alert system. This is only a test. We actually got an emergency alert system alert tonight before we came on the air. Beep. You know, the long tone that used to go and you'd be like, oh my God, we're getting bombed. We actually had one in California tonight.
Wow.
Well, Vlad, you'll appreciate the reason why. We got the alert because the power grid is strained because it's so damn hot out here.
It's fried.
Yeah, so they sent us an alert saying, if you don't power down X, Y, and Z, we're going to do rolling blackouts. We're just going to shut you down. Now, for me, that would be a problem. I kind of need power to do the show.
You think?
I know. So we're sitting there trying to conserve energy. I'm sweating. It's 120 degrees in my condo. I don't have a fan on. It's brutal.
You lose weight.
So I'm unplugging things. I'm trying to save electricity and all this stuff. And now one of my monitors went out. It's just it's just a disaster. So I apologize to our audience who has to endure that. But that's kind of what's going on. New college football top 25. As I mentioned, Michigan has joined the top 5. Boy, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Michigan in the top 25. Alabama, obviously, at 1. Georgia now 2. Ohio State drops 1 spot to 3, even after a win over the 5th-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Again, how did they drop a spot? I get what Georgia did to Oregon was impressive, but how on earth Georgia jumps over Ohio State? Okay, fine. But here's how much respect the pollsters still have for Notre Dame. They only dropped to 9 with that loss. Clemson 4. So, wait a second. Was Clemson 3 going into last night?
No.
What was Clemson going into last night?
Clemson was maybe 5.
So Clemson moved up, and they're talking. The Clemson moved up. They won by 31 points, and they're still talking about replacing their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Somebody help me. It's just comical. It really is. It's absolutely comical that we're talking about a team that won by 31 points, and we're gonna change quarterbacks. It's crazy. Anyway, Clemson 4, Michigan 5, Texas A&M 6, Oklahoma 7, Baylor 8, Notre Dame 9, Oklahoma State 10. And again, I mean, is what Michigan did so impressive that you move them to number 5 this early in the season? I think guys are just throwing teams up against a wall. I really do.
Of course they are.
I think teams are just. I just think guys are like, hey, we could have some fun with the poll. We could have some fun with the poll this time of year, because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't impact anything this early in the season. Let's get creative. Let's throw Michigan in at 5. Hey, how about Notre Dame at 9? Sure, why not? Nick Ferguson has a Heisman vote. He's a former NFL safety. He's in Denver, where they're all excited about Broncos football because they have Russell Wilson at quarterback this year. I'd be really excited with what they've had since Peyton Manning left to have Russell Wilson. We'll get into all of it with Nick Ferguson as we continue. It's the Cash In. I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio. Sorry about that, man. I unplugged something, and when I plugged it back in, it was causing another feed that I have, a delayed feed, to come into the board.
Something's wrong. I don't know what it is, because on the FaceTime, I'm hearing myself on the FaceTime.
No, I had my mic muted. Sorry about that.
Yeah, like talking to you, I could, like, because we're on FaceTime and I got to signal you, I could hear myself on the speaker. Hello? I don't hear you. Oh, you must be talking to Chang. Hello? No. You got to call Nick, Brian. I gave you the number. Brian called me by accident.
Here's the phone number for Nick. It's 401-263-1272.
Yeah, I gave him the number.
All right.
Man.
Just let me know when you have them.
Sports talk, only better than Cash In with Jason Page continues on Sports Map Radio Network.
Rolling along on this Tuesday night, Sports Map Radio Network. The Cash In, our second night doing this show. Oh, and we're dealing with all the fun and frivolity that comes with that. Next hour, Dan Kaplan from The Athletic, their sports business reporter. Did you see the number, the ratings number that the U.S. Open did for Serena Williams' final match? It's crazy. Crazy huge number. I'll tell you about that coming up in the next hour of the show, and we'll talk with Dan about all things sports business, Amazon Thursday Night Football, what that's going to look like, how many people can we expect to actually watch on there. They only had 1 million for a preseason game. Half of those were just in the local markets watching it on TV. I am most interested to see what we get for numbers when it comes to these Amazon Prime games. Let's go to Denver. Say hello to our friend Nick Ferguson, former NFL safety. Of course, I'll always remember him as a member of the Hartford Colonials. I know. It's the part of your career you probably loved the most back in your UFL days where I was doing the play-by-play and Nick was on the team. It was a fun year. Nick Ferguson gives us a few minutes on the program. He's also a Heisman Trophy voter. By the way, how did you get, and I'm not saying this to be mean or disrespectful because you know I love you. How did you get a Heisman vote? How did you get a Heisman vote? Yeah, I mean that's a prized thing to have. You know, get a Heisman vote. I mean, not too many people get that distinction. That's pretty wild. Hey, am I crazy? Let me ask you something. Am I crazy when I say that, you know, this whole Tom Brady thing in Tampa Bay, and I'm going to ask you about Denver, don't worry, because I know you guys are excited about Russell Wilson. But am I crazy to think that, you know, this whole marital strife thing with Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen, you know, her basically being disappointed that he decided to play another season, is there a possibility that this leads to him not getting through the entire season? I'll tell you why I think it's a big deal. His whole career, he's, you know, basically been married to Gisele Bündchen, and they've kept everything under wraps. I mean, there's been so much bliss and harmony, everything's great, that they've been able to keep this whole thing under wraps. The fact that this thing has spilled out so publicly is the one thing that gives me pause. That this isn't just your typical, you know, page 6 story about Tom Brady having some marital strife with his wife. The fact that this thing became public for a guy like Brady who likes to keep things private tells me it could be something bigger than just some marital strife and that he's going to go through this whole season regardless. Talking with Nick Ferguson, former NFL safety, giving us some time from Denver tonight as we get ready for the start of this NFL season. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the excitement level knowing that you guys have a capable quarterback in Russell Wilson? Is it 11? Is it 12? Is there any trepidation going into this season when it comes to the Broncos? I'm kind of interested because the Broncos got Peyton Manning at the end of his career and won a Super Bowl, and we all know what that Manning was at the end of his career. And while Russell Wilson is clearly not at the end of his career, he's closer to the end than he is the beginning. And I wonder if what people saw in the second half of last year when he struggled a little bit after having a great first half for the Seahawks, if people are still a little hesitant or if there's a little residency that perhaps they're getting Russell Wilson, sort of on the back nine of his career, and whether that is still good enough with this roster as opposed to what Peyton Manning had in his Super Bowl year, that is enough for this team to contend for a Super Bowl. They've had 11 starting quarterbacks since Peyton Manning retired. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. It almost makes you dizzy if you start to go through what this team has been at the QB position since Peyton Manning retired. And again, remembering that this wasn't Peyton Manning at the top of his game. This was Peyton Manning at the end of his career, who, as you mentioned, Denver was kind of able to take him across the finish line. Spending a few minutes with Nick Ferguson, does a great job on the NFL, also college football, former NFL safety, joining us here on the Cash. And hey, Nick, I was talking about this earlier, and I want to get a college question in. This Clemson quarterback situation. They win a game by 34 points. They move up in the rankings, and here we are on the day after their win, talking about a potential quarterback controversy because a couple of writers out there have mentioned the way their backup played on that final drive. Is this thing real? Is this being fair to DJ Uiagalelei? Yeah, and I think he will. I think one of the things about college football is the fact that you don't have a preseason. You're just basically out there and the curtain comes up. You see some teams stumble out of the gate. I think DJ is going to be fine as we continue to go through the season. Hey, Nick, I got to run. Thank you, my friend. Nick Ferguson, former NFL safety. I'm Jason Page. This is the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. Stay with us.
Tell me, Nick. Thank you. You hear me?
Thanks for getting him on.
Is that you? Answer the question. I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside.
Even though it sounded like he was underwater.
Did it?
I think it's
Oh, his phone was terrible.
I didn't know. I didn't hear it. I couldn't hear it.
What'd you say?
I couldn't hear it.
Why couldn't you hear it?
Because I don't get return programming through the headphones.
Oh, that's
And
right. Yeah, but you couldn't listen
and-
online?
I did listen online. When I went to listen to it on Facebook, it sounded bad, but listening to it on the sports map, it was good. Like the people on Facebook weren't able to hear Nick on the air.
Really?
Nope. They even texted you a message and they said they can't hear you. But I was on the Facebook Live.
They couldn't hear me or they couldn't hear Nick?
They couldn't hear Nick. They could hear you. I heard all the questions, but I could barely hear
How is
Nick.
that possible?
I don't know. But when I turned on the sports map,
that this thing became public for a guy like Brady who likes to text you messages.
How strange.
Facebook Live.
They couldn't hear me or couldn't hear Nick.
They couldn't hear Nick. They could hear you. I heard all the questions. Like they could hear me and you having our conversation right now.
Yeah. I get it. That's fine. I don't mind them hearing us. Giving them a little behind the scenes.
How strange.
At least when I was listening.
The wins, the losses, and the stories behind it all. The Cash In with Jason Page. Can you find some?
Can't go wrong with a little Van Halen. Hatchinoff won the third set at the U.S. Open against Nick Kyrgios. Could be a late night there, though, because they're in the fourth set now, 2-all. So Hatchinoff leads 2-1, and they are 2-all in the fourth set. So, and I'll say it again. I'll say it again. If Kyrgios bows out of this tournament, if he falls tonight, the U.S. Open's got almost nothing to get you excited over the final week. And I'm a huge Grand Slam tennis fan. If they lose Kyrgios after they just lost Coco Gauff, I mean, what are you tuning in for? What are you getting excited about? You know, some relative no name is going to win this tournament. Could happen. Thanks again to Nick Ferguson for joining us, former NFL safety. Does some sports radio in Denver as well, and he's a Heisman Trophy voter. Did you think it was weird, Vlad? Did you think it was weird? I asked him a question. I said, "How did you get your Heisman vote?" And he wouldn't tell me.
No, it's a secret.
But is it? I mean, isn't there a way that happens?
Yeah,
Isn't there a
He
criteria?
probably doesn't want to tell you that way.
I'm just.
It's up to you, you know?
It's not like people are selling them off the back of a truck.
Nah.
You know.
No, with people with votes like that, I wouldn't. I would not tell anybody how I got that vote. It's the same because everybody
I would
wants to vote.
absolutely tell because usually it's longevity. If you cover the sport for a certain amount of time, like
Hey,
the Baseball
listen,
Writers
listen,
Association.
Listen, Poppy Lebitard got a Heisman vote.
Wait a minute. Poppy Lebitard's got a Heisman vote?
Well, had.
Was he a sports writer or something?
No, I'm talking about Dan Lebitard's father.
That's what I'm saying. Poppy.
Yeah,
so
he was no sports writer. He
nothing.
was just a guy that.
I know who he is, but
Okay, then.
that's why I was
But-
asking. Is there something I missed in the story? Because
No, you heard exactly in the story. It doesn't really. It
so
might
they
not
just
really
give
take
him
a lot
out to
become
any
a voter.
They just give him out to everybody.
You got to know people.
Wow, that's alarming. It's that easy to get a Heisman vote? I mean, we're talking about the most prestigious award in college football, one of the most prestigious awards in all of sports. Anybody can get one? In the next hour, Jalen Rose, who is known for saying some very interesting things, said something very interesting when it comes to what he calls the shocking truth about the sports TV business. We'll get into that. I got a couple of NBA items I want to get to. We'll also play a new game on the show. Well, it's a new show, so I guess every game is new. It's called No Odds, Should Be. We'll get to that coming up in the next hour. Dan Kaplan, we'll have a conversation with him, sports business reporter at The Athletic. Does a great job on all things sports business. I want to ask him about the ratings for the final Serena Williams match on Friday. And I'll tell you what they are. And don't go look it up. I'm telling you, don't go look it up because you're going to be shocked. And I want to talk about it a little bit with him. And also get into this Amazon Thursday Night Football deal. And how many people can we realistically expect to watch? I mean, I have to be honest. Other than a stray Thursday night game when I was in Singapore that I would watch on Prime Video because it was the only way I could watch it. I am not one for watching sports on Amazon Prime. I still cannot get into that mindset of watching sports on Amazon Prime. Have you watched a lot of sports on Amazon Prime, Vlad? Do you even have Amazon Prime?
Yes, of course I have Amazon Prime. I have Amazon. That's free.
I'm just saying. No, you have to have. Yeah, if you have Prime, it's free, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think you had Amazon Prime. I thought you might. I
watched-
thought you might be that guy that waits a week for it to the item to get there.
No, I actually can help you out so that you can stop watching YouTube TV. I have a way for you to actually get the stuff and not be 10 seconds behind.
Listen, I like my YouTube TV, and it's not that expensive.
You like your YouTube TV, especially when you're getting ripped for it. But yeah, the Prime TV, everybody's gonna have it. We like to complain about things that's new because we're used to things the way they were. We're accustomed to the way things are. You're gonna listen to Al Michaels. You've heard of Herb Street. You're gonna watch. Let's just calm down.
Oh, they're going to put good games on there, which is obviously going to force you to watch. But
this sounds.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This sounds exactly the way. What was it? 2005, 2006, 2007, when hardly anybody had the NFL Network, and everybody was scrambling, gambling to get the NFL Network for that Week 17 game between the Giants and the Patriots in that 2007 season. When they were striving for perfection. So after that, everybody had NFL Network, but nobody had NFL Network before. Remember, the NFL Network wasn't in the Northeast. Hardly people had it in New York.
Oh, I remember. We couldn't get it. I was living up in the Northeast, and it was very difficult to get.
And it was a lot of people bitching and complaining about the fact that, well, why are these games in the NFL Network? And now, 15, 20 years later, you can't have a cable. There's no package without the NFL Network in there. So they'll bitch and complain about the Amazon package. They'll start liking it when they'll enjoy the games. And you know what? We won't hear any of it after that.
If you are an NBA team, I'm going to switch gears to the NBA here for a second. If you are an NBA team, okay, do you allow players, after the latest injury of a guy not playing in an NBA game, this one being Danilo Gallinari, do you allow players? I don't understand, for all the business sense that all these teams talk about. And I always say, so many professional sports teams make money in spite of themselves or despite themselves in some instances. But I can't understand why any NBA team would say, yeah, we want you to go play in the Euro Basketball Championships or this international tournament. Or, yeah, go play in some summer league game at full speed with your number 1 draft pick rookie or number 2 draft pick rookie who's going to get obliterated by LeBron James on a fast break and wind up, screwing up his leg for the whole year. I mean, I don't understand for the life of me. And I'm hoping beyond hope. Because, the NBA, you want to see your best stars on the court. You want to see your best players on the court come November, come October, when the season begins. And now you're not going to have Danilo Gallinari in Boston. You're not going to have, this talented Chet Holmgren in Oklahoma City, which is already basketball Siberia ever since, the big 3 left. And it's going to continue to be basketball Siberia. By the way, I've got another team that's about to become basketball Siberia too. But Oklahoma City, I'll tell you in a second. But I think it's got to get to a point where teams and organizations start to say, hey, man, other than the Olympics, you're not playing in anything that isn't NBA related. And I know some people will say that the Chet Holmgren exhibition, it was sanctioned by the league, and that's all great. But the more opportunities you give these guys to play outside of the NBA parameters, outside of that NBA system, outside of the rules and the regulations and, your head coaches and training staff and all that stuff, you're asking for stuff like what happened to Chet Holmgren to happen. You're asking for stuff like what happened to Danilo Gallinari to happen. You're asking for some of your most important pieces. Here's a Boston Celtics team that was, on the verge of potentially winning another NBA title. They go get Danilo Gallinari. And now what? You go get Carmelo Anthony? I mean, what are you gonna do?
Better offensive player. Better offensive player.
But again, this is a big problem. This is a big problem for this league.
Not.
It is.
No, it's not. Okay, let me ask you this, Paige. How come soccer doesn't have that problem? And if you're talking about a game that their superstars mean so much to the team, soccer, if you think Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi get hurt playing for their country, you don't think, well, he's Man U right now.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you're talking Champions League or Europa,
go crazy.
Yeah, but if you're talking like Champions League and Europa, those things mean still so much. You're not talking about.
They mean a lot, but they mean a lot for that soccer team. But so does the country. Like playing soccer for your country means a lot. Like, here's the thing. We're saying this about the Celtics, and it means a lot for Danilo Gallinari to play for his Italian team. The same way that an injury could happen for the Slovenia, or Mark Cuban could be upset. But guess what? That's Luka Doncic's country. That means a lot to him.
Well, first of all,
you're going to tell somebody don't play hard for their country, play hard for their team. They don't believe that, especially for the European players.
But your country ain't paying you. Club. Your country ain't paying you 8 figures. You got to make sacrifices. You gotta.
You know what? Hey, listen. It's because we live in a different country because this sport is so prominent to us that we if our top players don't play, we're expecting our B or C level players to play. That doesn't work for these other countries. So as great as Luka Doncic is, as good as a complimentary player Gallinari is, it means more to them. They're a superstar. Gallinari's a superstar in Italy.
Of course, I get it.
He's not a complimentary player in Boston. He's a superstar in Italy.
I get it.
Therefore, it's different.
But that is a huge injury for the Celtics, and it doesn't happen if he's not playing in the tournament. And look, maybe up until this point, teams have been, even reluctant, but have allowed these guys to go play in these tournaments. I think there might be a breaking point here.
I don't think it's a breaking point because I only think, listen, nobody would have cared about the Chet Holmgren injury. They would have said something. The only reason why it was big news is because LeBron James was playing in the Seattle Pro-Am at the Seattle Summer League game. That was it. That was it.
Yeah, it was a Pro-Am. It wasn't even a Summer League. It was a Pro-Am.
Right, but it was a Pro-Am. But that's it. If LeBron James was not there, if there was not a big top prominent player there, it would have been, second number 2 pick, Chet Holmgren got injured during Summer League game. It's, oh my God, number 2 pick Chet Holmgren got injured trying to block LeBron James in a Summer League game. So there's the where and who was involved makes the story bigger than what it was.
I still think it's a big story because it is the number 2 pick and there is a lot expected of Holmgren. But I think there's something to be said for what you're saying about LeBron being involved. By the way, the next basketball Siberia is Utah. Now, when the big 3 left Oklahoma City about 6 years ago when I was on the air at NBC, I said then, be ready because Oklahoma City is going to be irrelevant for a long time. And guess what? I was right. And I'm saying the same thing about the Utah Jazz now because guess what? Guys aren't going to play in Oklahoma City when you're a free agent because it's Oklahoma City. And I don't say that with any disrespect towards Oklahoma City, but it ain't Miami, it ain't LA, it ain't San Francisco, it ain't New York, it ain't Boston, it ain't Chicago, hell, it ain't even Cleveland. It's Oklahoma City. And guys, free agents who look at a crappy, less than average, mediocre Utah Jazz team are going to say, yeah, I want to go be the building block that you build around there and take forever to build a winner. So unless they do it through the draft again, like they did with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, unless they can go and do it through the draft again, the Utah Jazz have just become the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just different uniforms in a different city. Plain and simple. That's where you are right now if you're the Utah Jazz. You are basketball Siberia. Just like Oklahoma City, you are basketball Siberia. Get comfortable. Enjoy those salt flats. Because there ain't anything else going on in Utah. I've driven through Salt Lake City a zillion times. There ain't anything else going on there. What'd you say?
Let me get my Joakim Noah on. What's popping in Salt Lake, man? What's going on?
Ain't nothing going on in Salt Lake.
Let's keep it a buck, Paige. Brothers aren't going to Salt Lake.
No, exactly. That's it.
We're not staying in Salt Lake. Like this is how bad Salt Lake is, guys. Before we go to break,
yeah,
this is how bad Salt Lake is. Salt Lake is so bad that it makes Cleveland look like it's Houston.
And I've lived in Cleveland, so I've been to both.
Think about what Donovan Mitchell has gone through.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell grew up in New York, in the New York area, right? He played in Louisville, cool, whatever. You're gonna get love in Louisville, mad love in Kentucky. But then he got drafted to Utah, and he played in Salt Lake City.
Yep.
I think the only brother he saw was probably his own teammate.
Yeah, it's true.
And then he was ecstatic. He must have been thrilled that he got traded to Cleveland. Cleveland, I got love for you. I got love for Ohio. I got mad love for Ohio.
I get it.
But come on.
Yeah, I know. It's Salt Lake City.
It's nothing great either.
It's Salt Lake City or it's Cleveland. I'm Jason Page. That's producer Vlad. It's the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. Sorry, we broke a little late there.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's on me.
Telling you, man. I said it about Oklahoma City, and I was right. It's going to be the same thing with Utah.
You got that.
They're going to be bad for a long time, especially in that conference. They better draft really well. It's their only shot.
No. They're not that bad, though. They're not going to be that bad for that long, though. Think about it. This Golden State run's going to end soon. Lakers, LeBron's going to probably got a couple more years. Clippers got a couple more years. The team you got to watch out for is Memphis and New Orleans. But they don't win anytime soon. Those big-time superstar players are going to leave those markets.
But they ain't going to Utah. They ain't going to Utah.
But they're going to have picks and money.
Yeah, but there's so much motivation these days for guys to stay with their teams in free agency because of the ability to pay them more.
That fifth year.
Yeah.
But dude, if these guys can make the money somewhere else, your brand is important.
Again, though, it's not a great marketing city. I mean, it's just so bad for so many reasons. All right, this is going to be really quick coming back here, so I'm just going to take it out.
Yeah, do you think?
Okay, and it was turned down. Seriously, over 10 grand, I don't care what I have to fly back for. We can wait for 10,000. Yeah, I mean, unless if you have a wedding to get to. Oh my God, I cannot believe you just said that. I paid $10,000 if I can avoid a wedding. I give the airline $10,000 if I can avoid going to the wedding. Are you crazy? I'm sitting in that plane on my way to my cousin's wedding, and they said $10,000. I would say thank you, Jesus. There's no
Wow, McAfee.
my own wedding. I would have given it up for 10 grand. Would have scheduled it for the next day.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 Eastern.
Wake up call. I hate everything that comes out of these things. They should ban this. Tell me what good it is to bring two teams together. What do you think is going to happen? Like, isn't it inevitable that somebody gets into a fight and starts punching? Don't stop doing this. If you can't just run practice with your own group to get ready for this, you don't need a joint practice. That's stupid.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 Eastern.
We're all sweating it out together. The Cash In with Jason Page on the Smart Talk Radio Network.
All right, wrapping up this hour of the show. Don't worry, there's plenty more where that came from. In the next hour, we'll talk about Jalen Rose. Some very provocative comments from Jalen Rose as it relates to sports, television, and the people you see on it. Also, the latest sign that Kevin Durant is the cupcake we all thought he was. And we'll play a game. It's called No Odds, Should Be. Also, my conversation with Dan Kaplan from The Athletic. That's all in the next hour of The Cash In. I'm Jason Page. Stay with us on Sports Map Radio. I'm just testing something out here. Continuing on The Cash In on this Tuesday. Second show already. Wow. We're just blowing through it. And you- oh, we got drama. Drama, drama, drama. What else did you expect when it comes to Nick Kyrgios? Fourth set, they're on serve. Kyrgios serving 5-6. He dropped 2 of the first 3 sets. So if he loses 2 more points in this match, well, Hachinov would be the winner moving on to the semifinal. Kyrgios now 40-30 on serve, 4th set. We will continue to keep you updated on what's going on out at the U.S. Open. Kyrgios really the last big chance for this U.S. Open, really. I mean, they lost Coco Gauff. They lost Serena Williams. They've lost Rafael Nadal. Novak Djokovic didn't play. There's just the huge stars are largely gone. And Kyrgios isn't an American, but he has the support of many Americans. All right, they're going to a tiebreaker. 4th set, 6-all. They go to a tiebreaker to decide whether there'll be a 5th set or not in that match. A late night that's past midnight on the East Coast where that match is taking place in New York. So we'll keep you up to date on that. In this hour of the program, Jalen Rose with some very provocative thoughts about sports television personalities. I'll explain. We are all about gambling. We love the odds. And talking about it from a casual standpoint, there's plenty of shows out there that get number geek centric and this team against the spread when the weather is 74 degrees is this and this. And look, that kind of minutia to some people, it's what you bet on. It's what you go with. But at the same time, we like to keep it casual. We like to keep it fun on this show. So we're going to start a new segment in this hour of the program. It's called No Odds, Should Be. But we'll tell you about Jalen Rose and what he's saying as we continue here on The Cash In. I'm Jason Page. Glad to have you with us on Sports Map Radio.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40
You there, Vlad?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure you're still there. Kyrgios going to send it to a fifth set. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, you were kind of behind. I didn't want to, because you're YouTube, so when you turn around.
Yeah, don't spoil it for me.
By the way, you need royalty too.
Need what?
I'll put you on royalty2.com. It's a streaming site. You can get all the games, all the pay-per-views, everything, all the WWE.
Oh, listen.
Movies, all of it.
No, but listen,
Like I'm going to Green Bay.
oh, you're going to Green Bay?
I'm going to the Green Bay Jets game in October.
In Green Bay?
In Green Bay. Jets are playing the Packers in Lambeau.
We're actually on in Green Bay.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh really?
We actually have an affiliate in Green Bay.
We gotta talk. They gotta show Vlad some love.
When is it?
October 16th is the game, so it'll probably be the weekend of
Yeah, we got to see if we can turn that around. All right, hang tight. How on earth could you drop a bomb on me like that, Vlad? Literally like 20 seconds before we come back from a break. So we're sitting here, getting ready to come back on the air, and Vlad's like, oh, I'm checking off one of my bucket lists. I mean, we're literally like seconds from the mic being turned on. It was like a Frost Nixon moment. Did you fornicate? I'm sitting there, and he goes, hey, by the way, I'm going to check off one of my bucket list items. I'm going to Green Bay to see the Jets play the Packers this year. And I'm like, wait, you're going to Green Bay? And he's like, yeah, I'm going. And he's like, I'm going in October. I'm like, you realize we have an affiliate in Green Bay, right? He's like, what?
shout out to the affiliate.
Yeah, we got to set that up, he says. I'm like, well, you're telling me, 5 weeks before the game, I'm not sure we're going to be able to turn it around that fast.
But Jason, it's the second show that we started, so this is the second time they're hearing this. So we get them love. Shout out to our affiliate in Green Bay. We love you guys out there.
Yeah, you'll really love them. You'll really love them if they can figure out where to put you.
Of course. But give me some bars, give me some spots. I'm flying into Chicago, and then I'm driving into.
How long? I wonder how long that drive is from Chicago to Green Bay.
I heard it's like 2.5 hours, so it's not that far.
I've driven through Wisconsin, but I've never stopped in Wisconsin. I've driven through. I actually drove through Chippewa Falls. Now, you know why Chippewa Falls is famous, right? You probably will never know this. In the movie Titanic, Jack Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, is from Chippewa Falls. That's why. Yeah. So when I drove through Chippewa Falls, I was like, oh my God, this is where Jack Dawson was from, even though it's not a real character, not a real person.
Is the speed limit in Chippewa 25?
I have no idea. It's probably a one-stop light city. All again, with all due respect.
That's a Leo joke. Oh,
okay. Sorry.
Leo
My
doesn't date
apologies.
girls older than 25.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he does. He does like him young, and he's been kind of ripped for that over the years. WSCO and WNFL. Yes, it actually is called WNFL in Green Bay.
Oh, look
Green
at
Bay,
that.
Appleton.
Look at that.
There you
The
go.
irony. WNFL.
WNFL and WSCO in Green Bay. It's
Proud affiliate.
on my
Proud
affiliate
affiliate.
list. It's on my list.
There you go.
It's on my list. Whatever,
Well, listen.
whatever that means. I hope you are,
Listen.
though.
Keep listening. We love you. And tweet at Vlad2078.
Wow, he's
or
even
at the
pimping
back
out.
page.
He's even pimping out his Twitter.
Of
Wow.
course. Look, listen. If I can, Dave, I'm about to get the tickets, but if tickets were, somewhat available.
Oh, you ain't
Without
getting
the cost of
free
money,
tickets.
or-
Come on, it's Green Bay. You're never getting free tickets to a game in
And-
Green Bay.
Exactly. I know. You know how hard it is. These things are handed down.
Actually,
So
you know where you
I
can
get
probably
some,
get them? You know where you can probably get them? It's like StubHub. Something like that.
No. I already looked. By the way, so it's myself and two other friends, and there's no
Wow,
chance
you
of us sitting
found
next to each other.
you found two friends that wanted to go to Green Bay. Wow. You got some really
Jet
good
fans.
friends.
Why? We're Jet fans, and how many people are going to go to that sacred place, man? That's a sacred ground.
Oh, there'll be a lot of people.
Lambeau.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of Jet fans that make the trip. When was the last time I wonder when the last time the Jets even played in Green Bay was.
4 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
God, I don't even remember. My memory is shot, though.
No, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me take that back. It might have been 7 years ago.
I was going to
Geno
say, it's
Smith
been
was
a
the-
while. Oh,
Geno, they were there
Geno
last
was
year,
the
but it was a
quarterback.
preseason game. So we don't count preseason games. But if you want to count the last time the Jets played in Green Bay, I believe it was Jets Packers. Geno Smith was the quarterback, and I remember Eric Decker killing the cornerback from Alabama. It was the cornerback from Alabama. He was supposed to be a big time draft pick for the Jets, and he never.
Well, that's a lengthy list. So.
Oh, D. Milner. That's his name. D. Milner. How can I
Yeah,
forget?
that's a
D.
lengthy
Milner.
list if we're talking about these guys. Jalen Rose made some news recently, and I think
I love Jalen.
I love him too, but I think he said something that I'm actually going to go with him and agree with what he said. Sports television these days, we all know, is huge. We know how much value there is, how much money there is in it. But Jalen Rose recently made the comment in an interview with GQ. He was asked to divulge a few things regarding how much former professional athletes like him make as sports TV personalities. He said that, quote, former players are underpaid in the media game. Now, that may not be the headline. When he said how much they're being underpaid, Rose said 50%. He's basically saying they're making half of what they should. Now, I have to say, I get on ESPN all the time for various things. The one thing I give them a lot of credit for doing, and they did it in this NBA offseason, was they started putting players on up against Stephen A. Smith. And quite honestly, they made Stephen A. Smith look like a jackass. So I don't know how many more times they're going to want him on there with him. But I really enjoyed hearing some of the perspectives. Patrick Beverley. Oh, my God. How good was Patrick Beverley on First Take this year? I don't think you can get... And look, these guys are taking jobs from people like me. So it's no advantage to me to say there should be more players on television. But there should be more players. There should be more players on television. In the case of the NBA, obviously, an overwhelming majority of them are black. So there should be more black guys doing the sports television thing, and they should be getting paid more. If they're being underpaid, they should be getting paid more.
But Jason,
Yeah.
how much money are these analysts getting paid?
Well,
how much money are these analysts getting paid?
Stephen A.
That's
makes a lot,
covering
but
the
he's
NBA
not a
because
former
it's-
player.
Okay, but that's Stephen A. But Stephen A. is totally different.
Right.
Though. I mean, he has a show that's centered around him. When you're talking about 50%, I'm beginning. He's probably saying that these players are making like maybe six figures. Like they may be making $100,000, $200,000 working.
See, I can't imagine these
ESPN
guys. I can't imagine these
'Cause I don't
guys are
think they're
doing
making
it for that little.
I don't think they're making seven figures.
No.
I don't think they're making seven figures.
But you don't think they're making a $500,000?
So
I think
that's-
he's saying.
so
I
what-
think he's saying. I think the number's more like a $500,000, and he
I
thinks
don't
they
think
should
so.
be making $1 million.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they're making. I don't think it's that. I think he's making. I think they're making like a low, like maybe 200, 250,000. That's why a lot of them do both networks. That's why some of them were doing FS1 and ESPN. That's just to get their name out there, to get their followers, to get more eyes on them. And the ones that you saw that were making an impact, where there was a lot of interaction in social media. Give Kendrick Perkins credit. Kendrick Perkins is Kendrick Perkins, but he was garnering attention. That's when I believe ESPN signed him. And you've worked there. We've talked to people that've worked there. When you work for ESPN, you're doing every show there. So you're getting paid.
Oh, you're
to
going
be
through
there
the
for
meat grinder, absolutely.
Right. So you're doing the car wash.
Yes.
So therefore, maybe because you're doing the car wash, you're not getting paid the amount of money that you should be paid when you have to do 8 shows in 6 hours, or you know what I mean, or 12 shows in 7 hours. So I don't think he's talking about like 7 figures, because if they were making like $5 million and he expects them to make $10 million a year and just to cover the game.
According to Jalen Rose, one thing he noticed is all former athletes are dispensable on sports TV. By the way, they're all dispensable in real life sports too. I mean, let's be honest. I hate to break it to Jalen on this one, where I'll disagree. Everybody's dispensable. No, I mean, almost nobody is indisposable. I mean, even Fox Sports was willing to say, hey, you know what, Jack Buck and Troy Aikman, you want to go to ESPN? Go. I mean, everybody is disposable. And especially when they get too expensive. And that's what Jalen's point is. This usually happens. Guys get let go when they're too expensive. Quote, all former players should be getting double what they're getting right now. They continue to change over the former player when they get too expensive, and then they bring in someone to replace them, Rose revealed. I got news for you. That goes on throughout media. And look, I'm not telling stories out of tail here, or out of school. I'm not telling stories out of school. But, I mean, my last nationally syndicated gig, I got let go because they were able to get somebody for less than me. Somebody who was good, but it was somebody they were going to be able to pay less. It happens all the time in media. So Jalen saying, oh, they let this player go because he gets too expensive. That happens all the time in media. Happened to me in Hartford. Got to a point where I was making too much money. They knew they were going to have to pay me in a new contract. They let me go and brought somebody in who they can pay $20,000 less. It happens all the time. Vlad, you see it all the time. Happens all the time in this business. Guys get let go because they're making too much money.
They're always looking. It's a business. You're always going to see if you can put out the best quality and not have to put out so much. If I can get somebody, a talented person to do what I need them to do, and I don't have to pay them that much, or I don't have to pay them as of yet, you're going to do that wherever you can save money.
All right. I want to talk about Kevin Durant. That'll be the last NBA thing I do. Proving yet again that he really is the nickname that Oklahoma City Thunder fans chanted at him when he went to Golden State. He is a cupcake of the highest degree. The latest example. And a new game show on this one, or a new segment on this show. It's called No Odds? Should be. We'll get to that as we continue. I'm Jason Page. Thanks for tuning in to the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. Thank you. Thanks for bearing with us, Brian.
When are you playing?
What'd you say, Vlad?
When are you playing that interview?
In the long segment.
Oh.
The 14-minute segment.
And then where you do the close, and then we come back and do a close?
Yeah.
Or you just come back and
it's all self-contained. That segment is self-contained, so then I'll come back and finish the last 3 minutes.
Oh. So you don't need me. So literally after this, I can go.
If you want to. Yeah, you could. Actually, you could if you want to.
Okay. All right. So
you don't have to hang
Baxter
out.
next tomorrow.
Huh?
We got Baxter tomorrow. He can come on live.
when the entire sportscasting world goes to hell, there will be two things left: cockroaches and Russell Baxter.
Yeah, Russell survived.
Oh, and John and I'm sorry, and John McClane.
And Dave Smith.
You heard, by the way, John McClane is not retired anymore.
The hockey guy?
No, John McClane. Remember the guy we used to get in Houston?
Yeah, he retired.
No, he just came out of retirement to go work for KILT.
Really?
Yep, he's going to work for the Odyssey Sports Station. I love Uncle John. Remember Uncle John? We used to get him on all the time. I love him.
Listen, that's a side part. I try to get a lot of these people getting Odyssey's doing something. I got to give them credit, man. They're trying to corner the market. They're trying to get everybody just so that they can only come on their radio.
Yeah, but they just let go of. They just let go of.
Good.
So they're in the fifth set at the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadow. Kyrgios and Kachanov, 2 sets apiece. Kachanov is up a break and up 1-love and serving in that fifth set. And again, man, the powers that be at the USTA and Wimbledon, they are praying for a Nick Kyrgios win.
Breaking news. He's up 2-0.
Oh, it's 2-love. Yeah, I just turned around and saw it.
Excuse me. Yeah, 2-love. Let me use the proper terminology.
Yeah, 2-love. Wow, what were you going to say? 2-0? 2-0?
No, I said 2-0. I said 2-0.
That's okay. I'm sure our tennis fans in the audience will forgive you.
I think they knew what I think they know that.
The folks at WNFL in Green Bay aren't going to hold it against you.
WNFL, love you out there. October 16th, the Vlad enters Green Bay, Lambeau. Vlad enters Wisconsin.
Oh my God.
At Vlad 2078.
You're the worst.
At the back page.
No, don't go bringing me into this. I don't want people tweeting me trying to get you into Green Bay. You figure that bleep out on yourself. God.
Green Bay.
I'm going to Phoenix. We have an affiliate in Phoenix. We have an affiliate in Phoenix.
Love Phoenix.
Yeah, we do love Phoenix. I'm going to Phoenix. KDUS. I'm going to Phoenix. Yeah, I'm going to Phoenix. I think that was the same station we were on. I think KDUS was the same station we were on, if I'm not mistaken.
Isn't it like 1280 or something?
I think so. But anyway, I'm going to Phoenix in the man. I got a crazy October and November. Here's the one interesting thing, and I know I promised I'd get into this Kevin Durant thing, and I will, and we'll do our new segment here in just a second. When you have your own show, and I own this new show we're doing, my company Decibel 88 doing in conjunction with the Sports Map Radio Network. I have to, when I need like a fill-in host, I got to go find them. It's not like the old days of being like, hey, Jack Silver, I'm taking the day off. I need a fill-in. Okay, I'll call Scott Seidenberg and he'll fill in. No, now I got to do it myself. Maybe I'll get Seidenberg to fill in. That'd be funny. Just come all full circle.
It's 1060. KDUS.
Yeah.
So you're affiliated.
Yeah, I
in,
think that's where we
Arizona.
were on. I think that's the station we were on when we were doing the show for NBC back in the day. I'm pretty sure. But I gotta bowl 9 games for a tournament the last weekend of October, and then the very next week I have to bowl another 9 to 12 games at a tournament in Phoenix.
What are you, Jason Quintana? What are you, the bowler?
Yes, I'm Pete Weber. It's gonna be crazy.
You're the new Pete Weber?
I'm not gonna. Let me tell you, I'm not gonna have a wrist. I'm not gonna have a right wrist by the time we get to. No, we're not. I'm not gonna have a right wrist.
All right, Donnie. Donnie's rolling bones out there, rolling stones out there, huh?
Hopefully, winning some money too. All right. So I want to get into. Unfortunately, we can never talk bowling on this show. So I want to get into, and coming up in about 10 minutes, my conversation with Dan Kaplan, sports business reporter at The Athletic. We'll get to that coming up. Kevin Durant, you know the latest thing he's complaining and whining about? Did you see this? He's always got something he's complaining and whining about. He demands to know why he's not a 99 rating in NBA 2K23. This is the stuff that Kevin Durant is obsessed with.
First of all, no, don't blame Kevin Durant. This is the stuff that a lot of players, these current generation players, these current athletes in this generation are worried about. They're worried about their Madden rating. They're worried about their NBA 2K ratings. I don't understand it, but it's the thing now. So let's
Can
not
you
blame him.
imagine?
This is a
No,
lot of these-
but I mean, on top of everything else that we hear from this guy, he's jabbing and sparring with people on social media. And I'm not talking about like reporters. He does that too. But he'll go after anybody on social media. Like I can put up a post about him right now and he'll blow up my spot. Like, I mean, that's how crazy he is about this stuff. And the latest thing that Kevin Durant is upset about is his rating in NBA 2K23. And by the way, there are no 99s. There's only a 97. He's tied for second best with a bunch of guys. Oh, and he probably doesn't want to be tied with a bunch of guys. And he's 1 point behind Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's at 97. Seriously, Kevin Durant, find something else to care about. I mean, there's so many things to care about in this world. Do you think if Michael Jordan was playing in this era, he'd be whining about being a 96 and not being a 99? No, he'd be pissed about it. No.
Yes,
He would be mad about it, but it would fuel him. He would not say it.
Wait, time out. You just asked the question.
Yeah.
Do you think Michael Jordan would be upset? And I said yes.
Yes.
You say, but no, he would use it as. So why can't Kevin Durant?
He
use
wouldn't
it
say
as
no.
it?
The difference is he wouldn't go off and talk about it. I'm sure there's a lot of times
How do you
Michael
know Mike
Jordan was
wouldn't talk
slighted.
about it?
The only times Michael Jordan said a lot in the documentary, the Bulls documentary about their championship runs. He didn't say a lot of that stuff when he was playing though. He let it silently. He let it quietly fuel him. Kevin Durant, man, it's just a stream of consciousness, even if it's stupid.
Come on, Jason. We live in a different time, man. Social media. Man, stop. All right. Jordan made up things about people just to get them motivated.
Yes,
so we're
he
not
did.
going to do that.
He did. He absolutely did, but it wasn't public.
So I'd rather have something that's actual than to make up something to get me going.
This isn't actual. It's a video game. It's
virtual.
Stupid video game that
It's
grown
virtual.
adults living in their parents' basement are playing. For crying
Guess
out
what?
loud.
We're in the metaverse.
All right.
It's virtual.
Dan Kaplan coming up in about 7 minutes here on the show. No odds should be. We're going to do this segment on the show every week. This is our inaugural edition of it. There are odds for almost everything, but sometimes there aren't. We will give you a story, and then we'll come up with the odds on it. So our first item on no odds should be, and we'll get fancy music and imaging for this for next week. Odds that Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen wind up divorced. What would you put the odds at, Vlad? What would you put the odds at? I'll go plus 300.
That's ridiculous.
I'll go plus 300 on the odds they wind up divorced. Would you take that bet?
No.
All right, I give you plus 300. You say you do not take that bet.
No.
See, I think at plus 300, it's a good bet.
I don't think they're getting divorced, bro.
Oh, they're getting divorced. This thing's over.
No, they're not. They're not getting divorced.
She
It's
sat
not.
there and
It's not.
raised those kids this whole time. This thing's going to divorce court. Oh yeah.
And you know how many wives of athletes had to sit down by themselves and raise children by themselves? Come on, man. Man, stop.
Not for 20 something years.
Guess what? You're not married to any other regular athlete. You're married to the GOAT of his position.
Blah, blah, blah.
Look at you. You have me defending Tom Brady. I've never defended that man in 20 years.
It is kind of
Tom
fun.
Brady.
It is kind of fun though, watching you defend Tom Brady. I'll say the odds are plus
Yeah,
300.
that hurts.
I'll say the odds are plus 300. The odds that golfer Patrick Reed, now with Live Golf, the odds his lawsuit against the PGA Tour and Brandel Chambly are successful. I will put the odds at, I will say no, and I will put it at, I'll say there's no chance of it happening. I will say it's like minus 10,000.
Oh, I'm not taking that.
Oh, I would, because there's no chance of his lawsuit being successful. The judge in the case that's actually looking at it is actually a stickler for the rules of golf. Yes, somebody was able to find this out about the judge. I mean, Patrick.
I mean, you would think,
I mean, the only person softer and marshmallowy than Patrick Reed, by the way, and more of a cupcake is Kevin Durant. Because Patrick Reed is one of the biggest crybabies you've ever met. Oh, Bryson DeChambeau made fun of me. Somebody do something about it. There's only one good thing about Live Golf. It's that Patrick Reed went there to get away from Bryson DeChambeau, and then Bryson DeChambeau decided to go there just so he could torment Patrick Reed. Is there anything
DeChambeau
better
went
than
to
that?
Live,
Huh?
DeChambeau went to Live, huh?
Yeah. A lot of good players went there. It's a shame they decided to incinerate their careers.
No, yeah. Somebody said that months ago.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, no. Yeah, no. They're not
We're
gonna do
back
anything
with
to
more
the
of the
PGA.
Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. A lot of good players went. The problem is the ones they really needed didn't go. Hideki Matsuyama didn't go. Rory didn't go. Tiger didn't go. Matsuyama was the one they needed because that would have given them
Yeah, you could get the Japanese.
that would have
You could
gotten
get
the Japanese market. That one killed them. These guys are, I have no problem saying these guys are trash. These Live guys. And the only one who's been honest about the entire thing was Harold Varner III, who was like, dude, this is life-changing money. I'm never making this money. I'm going. He's the only one that actually said what everybody else is thinking. Kyrgios is still down a break.
Yeah, he's had many opportunities to break back, but he's not been able to do it.
Okay, I've got the interview ready. Vlad, you can bolt if you want. You don't have to stay because this segment's going to get us to the last few minutes. So if you want to take off, you can. We'll catch up tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll listen to it on the app.
Yeah, that's fine.
As of right now, we have Russell and
Yeah,
I'll
we
get
might have
somebody else.
I might be able to get
somebody for the
Patrick.
Buffalo Rams.
I might be able to get Patrick too. So
Well, that's cool. But I definitely want to get a preview for the Rams and the Bills.
yeah,
Somebody
that's cool.
from one of those
That
teams.
works. Okay.
All right, cool.
See you, man.
All right, bro.
Bye.
Later.
Eventually, Brian, Vlad and I are going to be in a studio together, and it will eliminate a lot of this. He's in Miami and I'm in Palm Springs. Yeah, eventually we're going to be in the same studio. Yeah, I've got a space that we're going to go and take over and turn it into a production facility, and do a bunch of things in. This is just the first of many projects for my company, so. How long you been with SportsMap?
It does hurt the crop. Djokovic and Nadal are still out there, but Medvedev beat Djokovic at the U.S. Open final last year. Kyrgios, who's playing as we speak later tonight, He's a threat to win this tournament. Chiappo, threat to win the tournament. So there are new names in the mix, but I think when we get back to a more normal cycle, I'm assuming Djokovic can play the Australian Open and enter the U.S. next year. It will still be the big, well, not the big three without Federer, but those guys.
And I'm curious to see if Federer decides to try and give it one more go around. He's never really said he's retired, but you look at it.
He's supposed to play. He's playing Laver Cup later this month, allegedly, and he has said he's going to come back to it. There's a small Swiss tournament, I believe, in September or October. I'm not sure where in Switzerland. He said he's going to try to make a comeback there. We'll see. I mean, he's been gone for so long.
Talking about the business of sports with sports business reporter Dan Kaplan from The Athletic, giving us some time tonight on the cash in. Dan, so much was made in this football offseason of Amazon and getting the exclusive rights to Thursday Night Football, bringing in Al Michaels, building a big pregame show around it, and Kirk Herbstreit is part of the team. Is there any sense, and I know they had a preseason game, I think, that did a million viewers, and some people said, is there a way to get a sense, can you rely on Amazon? Because we've seen how some of these streaming companies can be when it comes to releasing their numbers and saying exactly how many people are watching, how long they're watching for. Do you think we're going to be able to get a true sense for the success of this Amazon deal when it comes to transparency from Amazon?
Well, Amazon has gone out and become the first streamer to hire Nielsen to rate it like a traditional TV broadcast. So we should be getting apples to apples numbers. And the preseason game, the August 25th game, I think it was the 49ers versus the Cardinals. You mentioned 1 million viewers. That half of those were on the two home broadcasts. Part of the Amazon deal is the two teams that are playing, the game can be broadcast locally. And half of those 1 million viewers were on those broadcasts. So you're talking about 500,000 streams for that preseason game. Now, it's just preseason. Amazon hadn't begun marketing it. A lot of people probably didn't know it was on Amazon Prime. But when the Thursday Night Football was on traditional broadcast, it would pull in 15, 16 million viewers. Amazon has promised, I don't know if promised, but it's told its advertisers it will get 12.5 million viewers. That would be spectacular for Amazon.
Wait, how many? Hold on a second. How many did they say?
12.5 million. That would be spectacular.
Wow.
If that is it. But chances are they're going to average a lot less than that. And that's going to be one of the themes of the off-the-field discussions in the NFL this year is how do you look at Amazon's numbers? I'm sure you'll hear a lot from Amazon, a lot from the NFL. It's about growing the audience, growing the product, getting people comfortable with streaming, knowing where the game is. I'm sure those first few weeks of the Amazon Thursday Night Football broadcast, you're going to hear a lot of social media complaints about where's the game, why is it not on broadcast or cable. So there'll be a lot of education. There'll be a lot of education in the Amazon Thursday Night Football process, but I expect a lot of negative stories about the rating figures.
Is there a benchmark number? Do you think there's a number they've got to get to consistently on average this year for this to be considered a success?
I've asked them what they think a success is, and they don't put any metrics on it. They've obviously told advertisers this 12.5 million figure.
Wow, so that's a high number to tell advertisers.
That is the feeling in the marketplace that it is a high number, but look, they signed an 11-year deal. They're paying over $1 billion a year for the rights to Thursday Night Football. The NFL is going to promote the heck out of it. The promotions behind Thursday Night Football on Amazon have not quite begun. Those boxes we get from Amazon are soon going to be covered in Thursday Night Football promotions, so everyone's going to know where to find the game. The question is whether people are going to want to watch on their screen or a laptop or tablet. That's going to be another big question. Under
promise and oversell would have been more the approach I would have thought in terms of, Amazon in terms of the number. That's why the 12 million number is kind of staggering to me. Talking with Dan Kaplan, sports business reporter at The Athletic, here on the Cash In, going around on a couple of different sports business items. Is there a way to gauge the success this year? Major League Baseball did something interesting. I'm not sure how much you've delved into this, but is there a way to gauge the success this year with the spreading around of baseball games? And again, I don't know how transparent, Peacock has been with their numbers on this Sunday game, all these different digital avenues, obviously with Apple TV, which in a lot of quarters I've heard has gotten panned for some of the people they've had on those broadcasts. Is there a way to get a sense for how successful these digital ventures with Major League Baseball, the Yankees on Amazon Prime, how these things have done?
No one has put out those kinds of figures, and everyone would love to see them. I mean, this is talking about themes of the baseball season. It's where's the baseball game tonight? Is it a Peacock game? Is it an Amazon Prime game? I live in New York, and they have the Yankees. Like 20 of the games are on Amazon Prime, and is it ESPN Plus? Is it? And this is not just baseball. I mean, soccer deals with this too, and the ecosystem, the streaming and ecosystem needs to get a handle on this, because there's no better way to turn off fans than to make it difficult to find find a sports product. And that is a danger here, that people just give up trying to find the games. If you recall the 2020 Olympics, this was a problem. The NBC was putting a lot of the events on Peacock, and no one could find. If you wanted to watch wrestling, you couldn't find it, or you had to have a Rhodes Scholarship to decipher the grid to figure out where to find your sport. And this is the era we're living in, where is it on cable? Is it on broadcast? Is it on stream? What stream is it? Do I have access to that stream? I have access to ESPN3, but I don't have access to ESPN Plus. You have to pay for Peacock. You have Paramount Plus. It's all over the map, and there needs to be some consolidation at some point.
Yeah, Dan, it's like the Wild West. I mean, it really is the Wild West, with everybody kind of doing their own thing. The Yankees with 20 games on Amazon. Some games are on Apple, some games are on Peacock. It really is. It really does have this feel of sort of just a potpourri, if you will, of digital baseball. It was almost like they said, let's just try a few different things and see how it goes. Like throwing caution to the wind.
It's really outrageous if you think about it. I mean, these 20 games that the Yankees put on Amazon Prime, they're not on the YES Network here in New York. What as a cable subscriber, what you're paying for the YES Network is probably $5, $6, $7 a month, which you don't use except for Yankee games, and then they're taking 20 of the games away. It's just the leagues and teams will say it's about reaching new audiences. It's about reaching the cord cutters. It's just a greedy money grab.
Yeah, it really is. Dan Kaplan does a great job, sports business reporter at The Athletic. I look forward to getting you on throughout the season and as we continue to move through with this show, because as I said to you off the air, I'm a huge sports business guy, and I love talking to people that sort of cover the meat and potatoes of the business side of the sport. So I appreciate it very much.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
We will continue more of the Cash In on the Sports Map Radio Network. Stay with us. Getting set to put the wraps on this Tuesday edition of the show. Russell Baxter. He is the pro football guru. He has covered the NFL for a zillion years, and I don't think I'm even exaggerating. I've said when the apocalypse hits, there'll be two things left, cockroaches and Russell Baxter talking about football. He's one of the best in the biz. He really is a great guy. He was with ESPN for a number of years. Russell Baxter will join us on the program tomorrow. We're going to get Patrick McEnroe on this week. I just don't know what day because of his ESPN schedule. But we're pushing to get him on from the U.S. Open to obviously talk about what's going on there. Kyrgios and Khachanov in the fifth set. I thought we'd be done before they were done. Apparently, we're going to get done right around the same time. Khachanov up 5-4. Kyrgios serving, so I guess you could say, yeah, it is. Khachanov up 5-4, up a break in the fifth set. They split the first two sets. Khachanov seeking his first major semifinal in his 23rd major appearance. Kyrgios, who so many people believed was on the cusp of a breakthrough, obviously with his win at Wimbledon, or at his runner-up at Wimbledon to Novak Djokovic. A lot of people thought that was a breakthrough for him, even though he didn't beat Djokovic, and carrying it through to this tournament and winning some great matches, beating Daniel Medvedev. A lot of people thought this was his tournament to win, and now he's on the verge of going home in the quarters, which would be a disappointing finish for him when you consider no Novak Djokovic in this tournament, Nadal out before the semis, and it's right there for you if you're Nick Kyrgios. 15-15 in that, what could be the final game of that match. It'll probably end after we go off the air. Real quick, WNBA tonight. Connecticut Sun force a fifth game in their Eastern Conference semifinal, WNBA semifinal series, I should say. They beat the Sky 104-80. Aces beat the Storm 97-92. So Las Vegas wins the series 3-1. They're headed to the WNBA finals. They'll either take on the Connecticut Sun, who are looking for their first WNBA championship, or the Chicago Sky, who are seeking back-to-back titles. So we'll see what happens in that Game 5, which I believe will be back in Chicago. Mets lost to the Pirates tonight. Mets are in trouble right now. Braves are pushing hard in that National League East. As I said, the Yankees got rained out. They're supposed to play the Twins. I'm not sure if they're playing a doubleheader tomorrow or not. The Brewers continue to fade. They lost to the Rockies today, 10-7. Astros lost to the Rangers. Yeeks. Guardians staying strong in the AL Central. They beat the Royals. Just a little recap before we go. It's going to do it for us. Thanks to Vlad. Thank you, Brian. Back at Master Control, I'm Jason Page. This is the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. We'll see you tomorrow. Brian, thank you, and I apologize for the technical hiccups. When are you back on? Do you know? This week? Thursday? All right, well, hopefully we'll have this shit figured out by then. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You didn't see me waving anyway, so announcing the scores Kyrgios just lost.
Did he? For those of you watching on the stream, that does it for tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.